She was like, David, this song is too violent. You're talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son.
New footage just hit the net, and it's wild. David is seen cleaning the sneakers of the same girl whose body later turned up in his car trunk. The internet is going crazy right now, and the twist behind this clip is even darker than people expected. Some say it's just a weird, random moment, but others are convinced it's a ritual, something symbolic, like he was trying to erase evidence or send some kind of hidden message. This isn't just a normal video floating around. It feels heavy, like every frame carries weight. David bent low is caught on camera carefully wiping down Celeste's shoes, moving slow, deliberate, like he wanted to make sure the world saw it that way. And here's where it gets even more suspicious. Nobody knows who dug this clip back up or why it's being pushed all over social media right now. That timing alone has people shook. You gotta understand how this all began. What started as a routine day for tow yard workers exploded into one of the most disturbing crime scenes we've seen in a long while. When they opened that trunk and discovered 22-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body, the case flipped into something straight out of a nightmare. September 8th, 2025, a day that flipped the entire narrative around rising musician David Anthony Burke, better known on the streets as David. Workers at a Hollywood impound lot popped open the front trunk of a sleek black 2023 Tesla and made a discovery so grim it froze them in place. A severely decomposed body stuffed inside a bag.
By the way, that parking lot, we looked at it on we geotagged the photo and looked at it is about a 6-minute walk from Celeste's home where her mom lives anyway.
That car had been sitting there after neighbors in the Hollywood Hills complained about a nasty smell seeping out for days, and now we know why. The victim? 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And here's the twisted part. Her birthday was literally the day before they found her body. But investigators are saying she never even made it to see that milestone. The stench alone told them she had been gone for months, likely since she first disappeared back in April 2024. Now here's where it gets even darker. This isn't just some random missing person case. Social media sleuths, family members, and official investigators are all pointing toward a disturbing pattern between David and Celeste.
Met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school.
Grooming behavior that allegedly began when she was just 11 or 12 years old, while he was already 16 to 18. That's not just scandal, that's straight up predatory. The evidence tying them together is chilling. Both David and Celeste had the exact same tattoo on their right index fingers and the word shh. Some might brush it off as coincidence, but when you place it against everything else, it looks more like a silent pact, a bond that should never have existed in the first place. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office even used that tattoo to help confirm Celeste's identity, proof of just how significant that ink really is. And the family connection? Even deeper. Celeste's mother admitted her daughter told her she was dating a guy named David before she vanished. This isn't gossip. This isn't hearsay. This comes straight from the victim's own mother. She personally confirmed the connection between her daughter and David, the same man whose car became a crime scene, and the receipts keep stacking. A photograph has been circulating online showing David right in Celeste's neighborhood, just blocks away from her house, literally moments before she vanished. That detail is explosive because Celeste's home wasn't around the corner. It was over an hour's drive from where David lived. So why was he lurking out there in Lake Elsinore, California, a quiet city sitting about 70 miles east of Los Angeles? With no clear reason to be there, he wasn't just strolling through by accident. That placement feels intentional, like he was there for one purpose only. But the most twisted clue? It comes straight out of his own art.
After our school kind of told people this story, she disappeared again in May of that year. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead in that rapper's car, cut into pieces.
In December 2023, only 4 months before Celeste disappeared, a leaked SoundCloud demo by David surfaced, and the track was titled Celeste. The title alone raises red flags, but once people dissected the lyrics, it got even scarier. The bars were dripping with possessive energy, obsessive language, and references that mirrored the tattoos and closeness investigators later linked between the two. And it doesn't stop there. Alleged Discord chats from 2021 through 2023 showed direct conversations between David and Celeste while she was still underage. Even though investigators haven't revealed the full contents of those online messages, just knowing they exist means one thing: There's a digital trail that could blow this case wide open. And then came another gut punch. Reports revealed that Celeste had a history of running away from home, and every time, it seemed to lead her right back toward David. In fact, records show her family filed a missing persons report in January 2024, and then again in April, the same month she disappeared for good. This wasn't a one-time runaway situation. It was part of a dangerous pattern, and each time the shadow of David's influence loomed larger. What really shook people, though, was a testimony from an unlikely source, one of Celeste's former middle school teachers. That teacher said even back then there were whispers about Celeste being tied to someone older who matched David's description. That account paints this as less of a teenage rebellion and more of a long-term entanglement with someone who had alarming control over her choices. And then there's the heartbreaking forensic detail from when she was found. Celeste's remains showed she weighed just 71 pounds, with wavy black hair, wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow chain bracelet, and a single stud earring. Those details, combined with the tattoo on her finger, left no doubt about her identity after more than a year missing. Stack all of this together: the tattoos, the family testimony, the photos of him near her house, the leaked track named after her, the Discord chats, and now the repeated runaway reports, and it becomes almost impossible to explain it away as coincidence. What it looks like instead is a disturbing relationship that allegedly began when Celeste was just a kid, and David was already stepping into adulthood. But this was only the start of what investigators were about to drag into the light. Once the feds stepped in, the streets buzzed, and the music industry itself couldn't ignore the smoke anymore.
Something called luminol, which can light up a
Everyone's
floor.
seen this on CSI.
Yeah.
That they spray it and it, allows them to see if there are traces of blood, even if it's been cleaned up.
As the case around Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death grew hotter, law enforcement pulled a move that flipped David's entire come-up story upside down. What they uncovered didn't just show how deep his alleged connection to Celeste ran. It also exposed the industry for turning a blind eye to the red flags everyone should have seen. September 18th, 2025. Remember that date. The Los Angeles Police Department executed one of the most high-profile search warrants Hollywood has seen in years. Their target? A Hollywood Hills mansion where David had been staying. Cops stormed the spot, seizing electronics, hunting for digital evidence, and most chilling of all, searching for blood. Now here's the part that had everybody talking. The mansion sat just 2 blocks away from where David's Tesla, the one hiding Celeste's body, had been abandoned and towed. That proximity alone had jaws dropping. But LAPD wasn't playing around with a simple sweep. They broke out the luminol, that chemical spray investigators use to light up hidden traces of blood even after somebody tries to clean it. And they didn't stop at the living room or bedrooms. Reports say they combed through the entire property, floors, hallways, bathrooms, even the garage and outdoor areas, searching every inch for evidence of foul play. The level of detail screamed one thing loud and clear. Cops believed this wasn't just a random hideout, but possibly the very place where the worst of it all went down. The discovery that Celeste's body had been dismembered, with some parts never even recovered, pushed investigators into even grimmer territory, searching drains and hidden corners for traces of blood and tissue. And then came the backdrop, the mansion itself. This wasn't just any house. It was a $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills estate tied to David's manager, Josh Marshall, who has direct connections to Interscope Records. On paper, Josh may have been the renter, but everything inside screamed David's presence. His photos plastered online showed him lounging in that house, flexing in the kitchen, posing by the pool. Friends and collaborators like Benny Blanco and the alt group Cat's Eye were even spotted hanging out there with him. This wasn't some occasional crash pad. This was David's playground, a place where music, money, and secrets mixed under one roof. Investigators wanted a smoking gun linking Celeste directly to that mansion. But so far, nothing concrete has surfaced, and that silence raises 2 possibilities. Either she was never brought there, or, more disturbingly, any evidence of her presence was carefully scrubbed away. But digital breadcrumbs are harder to erase.
We're checking drains to see if there's any, blood evidence or, blood or tissue that was in the drains there. So they did a scouring of this house looking for any evidence.
Photos have since surfaced online showing David and Celeste together, undeniable proof of their connection. Even wilder, a live stream where David and Celeste appeared on camera at the same time, chatting with fans. According to reports, David went out of his way to instruct moderators to delete the recording once it ended, a move that now looks like damage control, as if he knew those interactions could come back to haunt him. And perhaps the most haunting image of all, a photo taken in Los Angeles back in October 2023. It shows David standing right beside Celeste at an event. The timeline is chilling. She had just turned 13, while he was already 17 or 18. As the investigation barrels forward, the music industry is tossing David aside like a hot potato. The fallout has been brutal. His highly anticipated Withered World Tour across North America and Europe canceled in full. His upcoming album suspended indefinitely by Interscope Records, the same label once hyping him up as their next breakout star. The damage control didn't stop there. Crocs and Hollister dropped him from their ad campaigns overnight. Kaylee Uchis yanked their collab track off streaming platforms. Even Fortnite, which had built an emote around him, quietly renamed it to erase the connection. And perhaps the biggest slap, the Grammy Museum pulled him from a scheduled appearance and purged his merch.
The kind of thing even a famous 20-year-old could do on his own, typically.
Including those infamous bloody shirts and outfits he once flaunted as part of his act. It's like the entire industry is scrubbing him from existence. But here's where the irony hits hard. While the corporations and institutions run from his name, the public's morbid curiosity pushed one of his darkest songs back into the spotlight. His track Romantic Homicide skyrocketed more than 100 spots on Spotify's global charts after news of the case broke. A song once treated as edgy art now reads like a haunting reflection of the allegations against him, with lyrics people can't stop dissecting. And when you look back at how he described making that track, the whole thing feels even more twisted. Before any of these allegations, David admitted his mother hated Romantic Homicide, and it was her disgust that actually convinced him to put it out.
The one thing we have not seen is a video of Celeste or photos of Celeste in that house.
The violent themes didn't scare him off. If anything, they fueled him. Now fans are questioning whether he was pulling inspiration from real-life darkness, mining experiences that hit way too close to this unfolding tragedy. The music industry is now being forced to stare down a question it doesn't want to answer. Were the warning signs always there, hiding in plain sight, and did everyone just choose to ignore them? Because when you line up David's lyrics with what we now know about his alleged relationship with Celeste, the parallels are chilling. Take his breakout hit Romantic Homicide. He literally raps, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you." Back then, fans thought it was just dark poetry, a dramatic venting of emotion. But now, those bars sound like they could be pulled straight from a real-life horror script, one that investigators say may have been unfolding behind closed doors. The timeline raises ugly questions. Was he channeling something personal when he wrote it?
I would go on Discord and I would go on Fortnite and I would go on like squad fills and I just let people talk to me and just tell me about their lives. I was just being an open door and an open outlet for like my peers and my friends to kind of just like vent to me about different things in their like personal lives and stuff like that. And I would basically just take their lives and write songs about them and write songs for them. And they didn't even know it.
Was this violent imagery tied to his alleged obsession with Celeste? Suddenly, what used to be praised as artistic edge now looks more like red flags the entire industry slept on. And while the world dissects his music, one thing stands out louder than any lyric: David's silence. The dude hasn't said a single word since this storm broke. Social media is on fire with theories, fan investigations, and public outrage. But the man at the center of it all has vanished from the conversation. His last confirmed appearance was a show in Seattle, right before the LAPD raided that Hollywood Hills mansion. Since then, nothing. No posts, no statements, no sightings. This silence goes way deeper than skipping public appearances. Insiders close to the investigation are saying David's entire approach to law enforcement has shifted. At first, he seemed cooperative, but now, total lockdown. And honestly, from a legal standpoint, it makes sense. When detectives are spraying luminol in your crib, checking drains for blood and tissue, and ripping through your electronics, only a fool would keep talking without a lawyer. But the other side of this silence is even more telling. Law enforcement themselves aren't talking either. The LAPD is guarding this case tighter than almost anything we've seen in recent years. Reporters are already comparing it to the Brian Kohberger case, where cops kept the lid sealed until the last second. But there's one major difference here. In that case, nobody knew who the suspect was. In this one, all eyes are locked on David. So the question the streets keep asking is simple. What more do investigators need before officially naming him a suspect? Right now, the legal dance is complicated. Owning the Tesla isn't enough. Prosecutors have to prove David wasn't just the owner, but that he was present when Celeste was killed or when her body was placed inside the car.
And I played it for my mom. And whenever my mom hates something, I know it's cool. And she was like, David, this song is too violent. You're talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son. And I was like, wait, I might be onto something, bro.
The song's violent themes didn't deter him.
Most of my other songs, like Take Me to the Sun and The Dirty Secrets before that, and You and I, they're all like these indie up-tempo records that you could just like do whatever to. And I played it for my mom.
Without that link, the charges can't stick. Still, the evidence piling up is looking uglier by the day. Not only do we have photos, tattoos, leaked songs, and live streams, but now reports are surfacing that David was allegedly messaging another underage girl besides Celeste. If this new evidence holds up, David could be facing charges way beyond Celeste's death. The timeline itself is already damning. Reports say David first connected with Celeste in 2021, when he was around 16 and she was only 11 or 12. Fast forward to 2023, their alleged relationship escalates right as David turns 18, while Celeste is still just 12. That overlap alone could back up statutory molestation charges, even before homicide enters the picture. But here's the piece that really flips this case into a modern-day storm: the role of social media. The same platforms that may have allowed David and Celeste to first connect are now the very platforms exposing him. Twitter threads, Reddit timelines, TikTok detectives, people online are piecing this puzzle together faster than the official investigation. And while that brings raw receipts to the surface, it also raises a chilling question. Are we witnessing justice or mob justice? Fans are split down the middle. Some are devastated, calling it betrayal from an artist they once idolized. Others refuse to stream his music, demanding boycotts. And then there's a smaller but louder crowd still defending him, claiming it's all speculation. That tension is ripping through his fan base in real time while the industry gets slammed for ignoring red flags that now look impossible to deny. Looking back now, the warning signs feel impossible to ignore. Beyond romantic homicide and the leaked Celeste demo, David's own visuals were throwing up red flags in plain sight. His music videos allegedly featured characters that looked eerily similar to Celeste, paired with violent imagery. Even his alter ego persona, It For My Eye, leaned into dark themes that mirrored her world, like Hello Kitty references, the exact same motif tied to the sandals Celeste was last seen wearing. That detail hits hard because it makes the art feel less like coincidence and more like a haunting reflection of their alleged connection. The investigation has also shed light on the heartbreaking reality of Celeste's final months. She wasn't just missing once, she was reported gone multiple times. First in January 2024, then again in April, when she vanished for good. Each disappearance paints a picture of a girl being pulled further and further into David's orbit in Los Angeles. And each return left her more entangled in his world and further away from her family's protection. Her family's pain can't be overstated. In the middle of grieving, they've had to set up a GoFundMe just to cover funeral costs while the entire internet picks apart their tragedy. And the most gut-wrenching moment, Celeste's mother herself admitting that her daughter was seeing someone named David before she disappeared, a confession no parent should ever have to make. Now, the case hangs on critical questions still unanswered. Will forensic evidence from the Hollywood Hills mansion tie David directly to the crime? Will the seized electronics spill more digital proof that he was grooming and controlling her? And perhaps the biggest, will David finally speak, or will his lawyers keep playing the silence card? But the story doesn't end with him. This case blasts open uncomfortable truths about the entire system, how the music industry shields its young stars, how predators exploit social media to find victims, and how society shrugs off warning signs when there's money and fame on the line. For now, the investigation is still grinding forward. LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division is combing through seized electronics, analyzing digital forensics, and chasing every lead from that Hollywood Hills mansion. Wild speculation has swirled online, whispers about pregnancy, whispers about dismemberment. But none of that has been officially confirmed. What is confirmed is already chilling enough, because this case has completely changed the way people look at the overlap between music, social media, and the exploitation of minors. The evidence paints a picture that's bigger than one artist and one victim. It shows how warning signs were screaming out in his lyrics, in his videos, in his posts, even in the very art that made David famous. And yet, those signs were brushed aside by an industry chasing profit and a fan base blinded by entertainment. And the timing details? Straight up haunting. Romantic Homicide was released on September 7th, the exact date of Celeste's birthday. Was it calculated? Was it coincidence? Either way, investigators are digging into it, because now the track's dark lyrics feel less like creative expression and more like a sinister timestamp. Adding to the irony, the same song has blown up in streams again since her body was discovered, turning a tragedy into twisted entertainment for millions of listeners worldwide. But the deepest question this case forces us to face is one nobody wants to answer. Where's the line between art and reality? When violent, obsessive lyrics are just performance, and when they're actually a confession hiding in plain sight? The leaked Celeste demo, filled with disturbing references to tattoos and obsession, paired with the real-life evidence of matching tattoos, suggests one thing. In David's world, art wasn't just imitating life, it was echoing it in the darkest way imaginable. Scary as it is, legal experts are already hinting that charges could be on the way, even if prosecutors can't pin David directly to Celeste's death. The allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a minor stand on their own, and now with claims that he was messaging other underage girls, the door is wide open for multiple charges tied to exploitation of minors. Meanwhile, the weight on Celeste's family has been unbearable. They're mourning their daughter in real time, while the entire world dissects her final months like a crime novel. And yet, through all of this, they've shown strength and dignity, cooperating with investigators and holding their heads high while millions of strangers argue about their tragedy online. This case is a reminder that behind every headline, every tweet, every viral video, there's a real family, a real loss, and real pain. Celeste Rivas. Hernandez wasn't just a trending story. She was a 15-year-old girl whose life was cut short, possibly by someone she trusted. That betrayal is what makes this entire situation so gut-wrenching. David's silence, while probably the smartest move legally, now sits in sharp contrast to the evidence piling up and the outrage building every day. And if more receipts surface, that silence won't shield him forever. Whatever happens next, one truth is already locked in. Celeste's family will never get her back. David's career looks finished regardless of any courtroom verdict, and the music industry has been forced to stare at the ugly question of why they ignored the red flags for so long. But I want to hear from you. How do you think this case is going to end? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you made it this far, sound off. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.